So let's start with today, Kerberos security. Okay. So as a part of the security, we have seen the LDAP integration. Basically, we have in this section, the last section, we have seen that how to integrate your existing users in your organization with the Ambari, right? So we have seen how to integrate the existing LDAP server. Or we have not seen the Windows Active Directory, but it will be one of the it will be more or less the same. But what we have seen, we have created a few users. We have installed an LDAP server. Then we have created few users, and then using that, and then we have synced our LDAP user with the Ambari, and then we finally we were able to log in with our LDAP user. So that was one of the security aspect, wherein you know that which all users are be able to access or are going to access your Ambari server. So that's one aspect of your security. The second aspect is your the second thing is your Kerberos, wherein you give more granular level security, wherein here we will see that which users have the authorized which users. So first and the foremost in LDAP, you have actually authenticated and authorized the user entering into your Ambari server. Now we are going to see whether the user which has entered into the Ambari or any other processes, whether he can access certain blocks of data, certain processes, or whether he can submit the map address job and those stuff. Okay, so we'll see this Kerberos. Um, and the only version of the Kerberos which works with the Hadoop is MIT Kerberos version 5. So this is the version of the Kerberos that works.
Hello, Som. Your voice is not clear. It has reduced a lot.
Now is it okay?
Hello.
Yeah.
Your voice is not coming.
I can hear you clearly. Sajid, is it the same problem with you?
Hello, Sajid. Can you hear Som?
Hello. Is it okay?
Hello.
Voice has become a bit feeble. Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah.
Oh,
Now it's better. Yes. Very good.
Yes.
now the specific version of the Kerberos which works with the Hadoop is the MIT, developed at MIT, and the version of the Kerberos 5, the version 5. Now, few of the universal security principles is authentication, authorization, auditing, data integrity, and confidentiality. So these are few of the universal security principles. Authentication basically means who the user is. Authorization, what the user can do, whether he is permitted to do certain operations or not, whether he is given some whether he has given some privileges to do some certain actions. Auditing, recording the user's activity, what all user is doing. Data integrity is basically how do you make sure that your data is proper. Confidentiality, and that's basically how do you make sure that when the data is getting transferred, or then that's it's confidential. So what kind of encryption mechanism you are using it. So these are the two important principles: authentication, authorization. So a person goes with an ID card, sorry. So he goes with an wearing ID card. So the security guard authenticates him that he belongs to this company, right? Then the ID card has also an access card, and this access card determines his privileges, his accesses to various departments. So that ID card is an authentication, and this access card is your authorization. And there are very so so there are various things which the Kerberos gives us, like, and also we also in Hadoop, basically how Hadoop handles security. So authentication is done by through your there are two kinds of mechanisms, whether simple or Kerberos. Simple is what you if there is no Kerberos, then the simple authentication mechanism is used, wherein whatever the user he is actually logging into, that user will be permitted to do anything. That's a simple authentication. Authorization, you provide the access control list on files and folders. So you say which you provide some permissions. That's basically access control list, and then you give permission to on the files and for which we're going to see on the later in the later modules. Auditing, then basically how what all the users are done. So for auditing, I forgot the name of the tool which does right now. There's one tool which Titan or not Titan, Atlas. There's one tool which does this auditing for us, Atlas and Falcon. So there are a couple of, so these are two tools which were recently introduced, and they actually do the auditing. Data integrity, so you use secure socket layer communication, and the confidentially is provided through this encryption, transparent data encryption. So Kerberos is a network authentication protocol which is developed at MIT, and each user has a complete workstation. So the problem, so the what does the Kerberos assumes is that the workstation which the user uses cannot be trusted. So everyone thinks that a person, if a person as organization working an organization, and he's and this is his workstation, so this user has a complete control of the workstation, but this workstation cannot be trusted, right? So that's basically that's what he assumes, that no one can, I mean to say, that cannot be trusted. And also what we assume that attackers are mostly from the outside, but most of the attacking happens within the organization, knowingly unknowingly. So most of the time the attackers or the hacks comes within the organization, not from the outside. So so Kerberos, what does it says that, boss, what I will do, I will be acting as a third party authenticator. So he will be acting as third party arbitrator. So if two guys wants to communicate with each other, so they will have some kind of this mechanism. So let's say here, and person 1, person 2, person 1, person 2, they want to communicate with each other, or person 1 wants to access something from the person 2. So there will be third party arbiter. So let's say this is our Kerberos. So what does it will do, he will contact this guy. Okay, then let's say I'm just giving it a very high, very simple how does it works. So I will contact this Kerberos will give me some token. Let's say the token is T1, and it is alive only for 5 minutes, or it is valid only for that 5 minutes, which is like an OTP kind of thing, one time password, right? So so I'll give him a token which is alive for 5 minutes. Then I take this token, give it to P2. I give the same token to P2. P2, what it will do, it will go again to this guy, and he will provide this token T1 to this arbitrator, to Kerberos. And what does he says? Yes, boss, T1 is valid, and T1 you can go ahead and you can give this permission. So once P2 gets a confirmation that T1 is the token T1 is given from the valid candidate, and he is authorized, then what does he do? Then P2 allows P1 to do activity, or to do whatever activity it is intended to do. That's how at a high level this is how the Kerberos works. Okay, so Kerberos acts as third party authenticator. It helps the users to prove its identity to various services. Okay, and also Kerberos, what does it says, that sending the password in any form is risky. So you have seen that we are not sending a password, we are actually, I have told about token and all. So sending the password in any form, whether it's a plain text, whether it's encrypted, is prone to attack. It's a risky option. So Kerberos, you will see that the password will not be transferred over the network, and it uses a symmetrical cryptographic algorithm. And Kerberos, just note it down, guys. Kerberos is a very big topic on its own. It's a research. I mean, it's a very big topic. I might not be able to cover everything and with respect to Kerberos. What we're gonna do? We will install Kerberos. We will do few activities, and then we will integrate the Kerberos with the Ambari. Okay, but Kerberos has a lot other functionality than whatever we are going to see. But a major functionality we are going to cover, that is how it can uses Kerberos, how the Ambari or the Hadoop services uses Kerberos for authenticating and authorizing the user, and it uses a data encryption standard. So against a cryptographic algorithms. Hello, guys, I cannot hear you if you are saying something. Are you guys saying
So we can hear you. No. Yes, we can hear you. No issues.
something? Okay. As I've just explained.
So
Yeah.
I have one question here. See, like you said, Kerberos don't would trust the workstation. So how does like to begin with, how does the Kerberos even know that I have a user U1 to whom I
Yeah.
have
So,
to
so
pass on some token?
we have to create some principles and everything, which you will see that once we install the Kerberos, then we will add the users to our Kerberos database. Once we add the user to the Kerberos database, then all those users which are there in the Kerberos database, they will be authenticated and they will get the token.
Okay, yeah. Thanks so much, Som.
Sending password, I just explained, sending password, whether a plain text or a encrypted, is risky option, because over the network, every time you send a password, there's a chance of intercept. It's a risky option. Again, a firewall is a risky option, risky assumption, because as I've told you, attackers can be within the organization. Unknowingly, knowingly, you might try to hack your machines. Okay, which is again a security breach. And what does Kerberos assumes that the network connections, the way the information is passed over the network, they are weak link in network security rather than the servers or the workstation. So actually, of course, the networks are, they whenever data is passed over the network, it's a high chances that it can be intercepted and can be intercepted and can decipher whatever information you are there. So it assumes the network connections are the weak link. And when you the design consideration at a high level, again, the interaction between the hosts and the clients, they will be encrypted, and you will see very short, and it uses the same algorithm for encrypting and decrypting a token. So these are the few design considerations, but it's again very big. I'm just explaining it at a high level again. Okay, and few of the components of the KDCs, very sorry, Kerberos. They are key distribution center, KDC, which we say, which is the important part, where authentication service server, you have a ticket granting ticket and a ticket granting server. The name itself says that KDC is a key distribution center, which is basically every time anyone who is looking out for some kind of a key, then it will contact the KDC and it will give him the token. Authentication, one who authenticates it. Ticket granting ticket and ticket granting service, we'll see that we'll see that in the next slides. So in Kerberos, the users are known as principals. Okay, so whenever I say principal, that means basically I'm referring to some user. And KDC, that's your key distribution center, it runs two daemons. One is a k admin d, that's your administrative daemon, and KRB5 KDC, it's your third party trusted arbitrator. It acts as a third party trusted arbitrator. So that's what I was telling you in a few slides back. So KAdmin D is your administrative daemon, which is responsible for maintaining the databases of principals and also the policy configurations. KRB5 KDC, he is the third party trusted arbitrator. And whenever user, and as I've explained you that nowhere the password it will be sent over the network. But when a user wants to authenticate, a user requests a ticket from the KDC. So you have a ticket, right? So every time you will have a ticket or a token. Now ticket is a datagram consisting of client's identity, session key, timestamp, etc., and it is encrypted with server secret key. So ticket is just a packet which consists of your who is client, what is the session key. So session has to be maintained with the client and the server, and so that's a session key and the timestamp. So how does the Kerberos works? How does the authentications happen? So this is all the steps. But if you let's go back here. So here it works like this. Just 1 minute. So first and the foremost, we are going to create the principals and their passwords in the KDC. So in the KDC, we will create principals. You will see that very soon how we'll do that when we'll do the hands-on principals and passwords. Now, so the first step, client will enter the username and the password. Um, and once he does that, username and password, the username, it will go to your authentication service. It will see the password and it will check the username. And if it checks okay, everything is fine with this guy, then it give him a ticket granting ticket. It gives back him the TGT, which is encrypted with user's password. So it will give him the ticket. So that means he has got the ticket, which has some time to live, usually 8 hours, but I think it's 24 hours right now. So I think the TTL, which is known as time to live for the token, is 24 hours. TTL stands for time to live. I think it's 24 hours, and after 24 hours, it expires. Now with this token, what does it does? So user has its password, user has his ticket granting ticket with him. So now what it will do, now he has to access some services, or he has to, let's say he wants to access the data from our data node, okay, of the block of data. So whether he is authorized or not, what does it do? The client, it will, whatever the ticket he has got in the first step, it will send the ticket encrypted with TG key, that's your ticket granting ticket key. It will send the username, service request, whatever the current time, this is your ticket datagram, whatever I have told you, right? Now the authentication service, so if you see here, the ticket granting service, the ticket granting ticket and the ticket, so authentication server, and this guy ticket granting service, what it does, it will check whether the TGs, whatever the ticket, whatever it has been presented, will go and check uh, whether this ticket is valid or not. Once that ticket is valid, then it will get back the session key, encrypted TG key, and the ticket for the requested services, whether he is accessible, whether he is actually can do, he get an he gets a ticket to access a particular service, and the service could be your yarn service for submitting the MapReduce job. It could be SDFS service for getting the blocks or whatever. So he gets he gets a ticket to access the process, to access the service. So now what we will do is, with this, I mean to say, I am, so this is at a high level. Again, it's not a very deep dive of the Kerberos, but it's just at a high level. We have just scratched the surface of the Kerberos, but it's a lot to it. Okay. So what we will do now, the next section is we are going to install the Kerberos and do some activity, play around with our creating our local users and everything. And once we are done, we are gonna integrate the Ambari with the Kerberos, and all the processes, all the services will be then, what do you say, will be Kerberized. So the term which we are using is the Kerberized. So when you say cluster is Kerberized, that means Kerberos is installed. So you will always say, if someone asks you whether your cluster is Kerberized, that means whether you have installed the Kerberos and integrated the Kerberos with the um, mm, with your Ambari or not. So let us start our. I've already started the process. I've already started my machines. Now what we're gonna do? Okay. Okay. Now, we first and foremost we're gonna install the necessary softwares like KRB5 server, and the five states that the number five, it means that the version five of the Kerberos, and Hadoop works only with MIT Kerberos version five, just as I explained you in the beginning. So we are going to install the server. Also, we are going to install the client, and this is PAM, stands for Pluggable Authentication Module. PAM stands for Pluggable Authentication Module, which is a Linux module for authentications. So let us first install the necessary softwares. Sudo yum-y install. So I'll cut, copy, paste. Now again, remember that we are going to work with the domain, right? So in this case, if you remember, I think I was in the last class, on LDAP security, again I have stressed on to the domain. So I think we have given compute.internal as our domain, right? Because the last two parts we have taken as our domain. So again, I will take the compute.internal as my domain. It could be, for example, compute.internal, it could be xg.com, cgi.com, ibm.com, whatever. So I'm assuming this is some organization's domain. Now, so first and so what we'll do, we'll go and we will change the administrative daemon configuration. So cd var lib var Kerberos KRB5 KDC. So this is the file kadm5.icl. Just give me one moment, guys, quick. And here also we have to be careful with the cases. So there are some places caps, there are some places small, so be careful with that. Okay, sudo vi. So here, if you see here, it's an example.com, which is your domain, and in our case it's a compute.internal. And the same case, please maintain the same case. Okay, so compute.internal. So if you have followed me, so please understand the domain we are taking here. In this case, my host name is this. My host name is this IP usws2 compute.internal, and this is the domain. Then we are going to give the default configuration. I mean to say that configurations for our Kerberos database, Kerberos server. And here we are going to edit this kdc.conf file, which is present in the same folder. Where are we right now? And what we're gonna do here is the realms. Realms is nothing but the domain. And in this we are going to provide whatever it will in the default will be in the default it would be example.com, but we are going to change to compute.internal. Okay, so now let us change that. Vi sudo vi kdc.conf. Okay, so this example.com has to the realm is nothing but the domain, and here the realm is example.com, which is now in our case it would be compute.internal. Again the case was caps compute.internal. So the rest of the things you can remain as is. Now we are going to change the client file. That's and this client file came up by the installation of the KRB5 workstation. So you have installed the workstation, so that's your client. So we're gonna change the KRB5 configuration file as well. And again here you see that here everything will remain the same. Somewhere you have to actually default realm xg.com and all those stuff. So KDC default realm is your xg.com. That's in our case it will be compute.internal, and this one, right? So those so we're gonna so the one which has been marked in red, those things you have to change. So when doing the hands-on section, so you have to change the one which are marked in red. Okay, the default realm here is uncommented. It is commented here. You have to uncomment, and the example.com has to be replaced by compute.internal. And see the example.com, it's in caps, so the compute.internal has to also be in caps. Compute.internal. Okay, here the realms are again commented all the portions, so we are gonna uncomment everything here, and we have to replace the proper one. We have to replace the existing things with the proper names. Where is the KDC running? Where is the admin server running? Okay, so first example.com, we have to replace by compute.internal, again in capital, compute.internal. Okay, and the KDC will be running on the same machine, so this has to be replaced by the host name. So let me just quickly take up the host name. So this is my host name where I'll be running my KDC. On the same machine, the admin server will be running. Now here we are going to comment again example.com, and this example.com should be replaced by compute.internal in small. And this has to be in caps. Compute.internal. So that's it. Those are the couple of configurations which we have to do, and then we're gonna start then we have to create the database, and then we have to start the services. So let us create this database, and here xg.com has to be replaced by compute.internal. So compute.internal.
So
So this step might take few minutes.
hello. Hello, so
Still it's not reply. Compute.internal, everything is fine. Okay. Okay, and here you need to understand, here you need to make a note of your KDC database master key. I'm giving as a training, and this should not pass to anyone. This has to be kept with the administrator, confidential. Okay, and then once we have entered, we're gonna start our KRB5 KDC service. That's the database and the admin server, admin daemon, sudo system. Okay, let us also check this. Okay, so we are going to enable it so that it automatically starts as a part of your reboot. So that's, and let's also check the status. of KRB5 KDC. It's active and running. Also, let's check the status of our KAdmin, and it's also active and running. Okay, now once it has done, let us start adding our users. Let us start some users and let's add them as well. Now for that we will, okay, so permission denied. Okay, let me start with the sudo kadmin.local, and that will open my the shell of kadmin.local. And now you will say list prints. That's basically stands for your list principals or list users. No, you don't have to remember. These are very easy steps actually, and this one or two times you will do, you will get it done. You don't have to worry. You don't have to buy hard, and in certification they will not ask you. So by default there will be one list, one principal, that's your KAdmin, and which has admin privileges here, and this is your host which has been added. Okay, now let's add the root which will be acting as a admin user. So root/admin, and let us give the password. I'm giving the password as training. So this is how you can actually add the prink. In the same command you can give -p option to give the password. And let us add our EC2 user. No, it will not be there. No Kerberos. Yeah, okay, so now let us add our normal user, that's your add prink EC2 user, EC2 hyphen user, and again I'm giving the password as a training just for the sake of uh, simplicity. All the passwords I'm making it as an keeping as training so that I don't forget. Yeah, okay, now we can add all the host names of the cluster. So we can say host slash your other host name. So let's add our other host names as well. Okay, control C, add prink host slash other host names, host slash our other host name. Let us go back. Our other host name, Ambari Data Node 1 private DNS. Okay, add prink minus random key host slash the other host. Let's add it up. Okay, it has created the principal host slash, it has been created, that's what it says. This is all again very important step, because now Kerberos, when you will integrate with the Ambari, it will ask for the JCE policies, Java cryptographic extension. So that's the manual step which we have to do it, and we could have done in the beginning of the session, but yes, but then what we have to do when we have installing JDK, we could have done this activity, so that we should not be doing it right now. But since we have actually since we have now doing it now today, so we will download these Java cryptographic policies and then add to our JRE lib. So what we'll do, we will exit from here, sudo.
So, what is this JCE?
It's a Java cryptographic extension. So it consists of the policies, and in some of the regions in countries, the cryptographic techniques the cryptographic is not a valid, it's an offense. So this is basically, so you actually, the Java cryptographic extension actually says, so we are actually installing the one which is valid. So all these everything is permitted, or else it will fail. You have to tell which cryptographic extension you are using it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so once you have you have downloaded this JC policy, then you have to actually, oh, I was in some different folder. Oh, okay, actually, yeah, it's okay. I will, so it has, you have downloaded this policy, the zip file, and let us go here, and it will be having two jars: US export policy and local policy. So we are going to actually move these jars, MV unlimited JC policies, to MV star.jar. Okay, let me run this command. So it will ask me to write, oh, control C, sudo MV. Okay, sudo MV, and we have moved to this particular security folder under JRE. And we have to update the, after updating the jars, we have to restart the Ambari server. Now that's the basically, now if you see here, now mm, uh, the Kerberos is installed. Now if I want to, if I want to get a ticket, I need to say K list. Just 1 minute. So K list, it says that it does not have any tickets right now. So for getting the ticket, what I need to do, I need to say K init. So in the K init, did we not loaded the kadmin dot local, sudo kadmin dot local list springs? We have added EC2 user, right? Or we forgot to add EC2 user. Oh, add prink EC2 hyphen user password training. The EC2 user computer internal has created. Let me just confirm that list springs. It's here, EC2 user. Okay, now exit, and I say K init to get the token. So it will ask me the password. I have to give the same password which I have given, so training. And when I say K list, you can see that I have the ticket, and it has the valid starting. It is at this point 7th May, and it's gonna expire on the 8th May on the same time. That's a 24 hours validity. Okay, so let me first quickly bring up the Ambari UI and restart the services. Okay, we have to actually restart that. So what happened, I have my connection to my server got closed. Okay, sudo service Ambari server restart. Let us start our Ambari agent in all the machines. So do service Ambari agent restart. Sudo service Ambari agent restart. Sudo service Ambari agent restart. Let's log in and start our services. And once starting, then we'll start with the integrating the Ambari or the HDP with the Kerberos.
So,
Yeah.
uh, see, we have integrated it with LDAP, this also. So if we integrate it with Kerberos also, so what functionality would be provided by LDAP and what functionality would be provided by Kerberos? Because you told that Kerberos is says
One is
not to
LDAP.
use the password.
So one is LDAP, wherein you actually making sure that which all users are able to access your cluster. So you are saying that all of the members in my organization can access my cluster, but with some restricted functionality. by entering into the Ambari server. They can view this, they can view that, they can read only permission, admin permission, or whatever permissions you require, you will provide to that user, right? So that's a one level. Now you are, and then no one apart from the people from your organization can enter into that, can enter into your cluster. Once a user has entered a cluster, what all things he can do in the cluster, because there are a lot of processes which are running the cluster: HDFS processes, name node, data node, secondary name node, resource manager, node manager, Hive, Zookeeper, Kafka. They are data, they are whether these users are will be able to run the yarn or not, yarn process or not, whether they will be able to run the submit the MapReduce jobs or not, whether they can access the data, access the blocks, access the data from the HDFS or not. So those are actually defined in the Kerberos. Actually, because Kerberos, you will see that when we integrate the Kerberos, it will take all the users and automatically it will create the key tab files for those internal users which are part of the Hadoop process, which are created as part of the Hadoop processes. Then you will do the then again using the Ranger and Knox, you can provide more granular level of security. Okay. Now here admin, and then you can actually go to Kerberos here. So let us now start doing the Kerberos as integration. So go to admin, click on Kerberos, and here Kerberos security is disabled. So you click on the enable Kerberos button to start. Um, and it says that yarn log and local directory will be deleted and resource manager state will be formatted as part of enabling or disabling Kerberos. Yes, we know. Now here it will ask you that what type of Kerberos you are using or what kind of thing you are using. So we are going to use existing MIT KDC or existing Active Directory and manage Kerberos key principal key tabs manually. So we are not going to choose, we're going to choose the existing MIT KDC. So when you choose the existing MIT KDC, it will tell you um, following prerequisite needs to be checked to progress ahead in the wizard. So whether my Ambari server and the cluster host have network access to both the KDC and the KDC admin hosts. Yes, we have, it's there because it is installed in one of the machines. KDC administrative credentials are on hand, right? We have that KDC administrative credentials, that is our root/admin, and this is our KDC administrative credential for root/admin, and the password was training for us. So we have these credentials in hand. And also it says that Java cryptography extensions have been set up on Ambari server host and all hosts in cluster. Yes, we have done that JC policy updations only on Ambari server. I think we did, not on the cluster, right? So this step is right now pending. So we have to do it in all the machines. So let us do it. And then we have to actually restart again. Okay. 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 So let us restart our Ambari agents in both the machines.
Hello.
Yeah.
So for doing these kind of activities, do we need a downtime, plant maintenance?
Not really. But yes, you are starting the agent and services, so there will be always be a downtime, right? Yes, of course you have to maintain that.
Okay. Okay. Thanks so.
Yeah. So now we have done this. So let us go back to our Ambari UI. First, let us cancel this. Cancel. Exit anyway. Yeah. Let us go back to our dashboard first and check everything is up and running or not, because we have just restarted Ambari agent. Seems like everything is fine. So admin Kerberos, enable Kerberos, proceed anyway. And now we have Ambari server and cluster host have network access to both KDC and KDC admin hosts. KDC administrative credentials are on hand, and JCE policy have been set up on the Ambari server host and all the hosts. Right. Next. Then you have to give the KDC host, which is basically on which machine it has been installed. So it's our Ambari machine. So I'll take up this and I'll give the host name. Okay, what is the realm name? And it is the realm name was the compute.internal. So this is our realm name, compute.internal. Internal. And what is the domain? Domain is .compute.internal, comma compute.internal. Let's test the connection. The connection is okay. So this is our KDC host and everything. What is a KAdmin host? KAdmin host is the same machine as our KDC. The admin principal is our root/admin. The password was training, and the retype password training. The rest of things you can leave as is. Okay, you can, if you want to see, you can go ahead and check out. So these are your Kerberos properties, Kerberos environment variables. I'll go to next. And most of the times if the failure happens while installing the Kerberos client, and most of the time the failure is because of you might not have installed the JC policy, and you might not have, first you might not have installed JC policy, second you might not have restarted a machine after installing JC policy, the third it might could be the incorrect credentials which you have given. So a root/admin is the one which we have to give. If the one, if it, I mean to say, so that you might have forgot. So these are the couple of issues which you'll face when installing it. So make sure that you perform all the steps correctly. Okay. Next. Everything is fine. Now you can actually go and click. Now you can actually, here it will download the tabs and everything. So better download the CSV, and we'll talk about the CSV. It's, if you open the CSV, it will actually showcase the what are the users and what are the where the key tabs are generated, which will be okay. Let me first press the next. Come back here. So host, description, what is the principal name, what is the principal type, what is the local username, where's the key tab file, everything it has actually created, and it will do on our behalf. So and previously, if you remember, when there was no Ambari and all, to install the Kerberos, you have to generate all these things manually, and with the proper permission it has to be kept it. But now with the respect Ambari, you can see that It's very easy item. 32
Uh,
entries have to be created.
so
Yeah,
maybe I got one doubt. Maybe I didn't follow it. This file, where we got
it will be
this
generated.
CSV file.
No, it has generated for you.
So, what is the data in this? These are the user IDs which are
Yeah,
present in the system. I'm sorry, if I didn't
these are
follow
the
it. I'm
these, these
sorry.
are these are the various principles which has been created. If you see, if you on the description, if you see name node, node manager, zookeeper, smoke user, data node, general node, you I hope these are the processes, right? For each and every processes, it has created. So general node is a service, node manager service, HDFS is a user, smoke user is a user. There are users also. HDFS name HDFS is a user. So for each and everything, it has created the what do you say, the principles. It has created the username for everything. It has created the key tab file path, wherein it will provide that key tab into that particular location. Everything it has created for us on our behalf, and we'll do the copying and everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Now here it is going to create. I mean to say distribute whatever it has created the principles in the Excel sheet. So it is going to distribute those key tabs to the various machines. Do you know any guy by name Anup?
Hello.
Yeah, do you know any guy by name Anup?
No, no,
Anoop.
sir.
Okay, it has starting all the processes. Gonna take some time, and after this, your cluster is fully Kerberized, fully secure, and no one except LDAP user one, because last time I think LDAP user one, LDAP user two we have created, and admin user. No one else can. Now you can enter, and then what we can do as an exercise, you will see that previously we have done the exercises uh, using the EC2 user, that is yours, getting doing some operation the GFS and all in an unkerberized cluster. Now once the cluster is kerberized, you will see that the normal, you cannot work as is. You need to get the ticket, and then only you will be able to work. So we'll see that. and then the next part will be, we'll talk about Ranger and Knox, how to install and how to work with them. What happened? If it fails if it fails this time also, then it's okay, we will continue. Which test it has failing? Oh, that was just a glitch. Complete, and your Kerberos is enabled. You can see that here. Kerberos security is enabled. You can also go and disable the Kerberos. Now, for the exercise purpose, for this, whether it has really working or not, what we will do is, I have actually gone into one of the data nodes and I do a K list. If you see K list, there are no tokens, no credentials or cache found. And for that, okay, so when I say HDFS, DFS, and before that HDFS, DFS, and LS, let me check whether I have the home directory for this EC2 user or not. Excuse me. HDFS, quick links, new node UI. We are not authorized to web HDFS. Okay, so we have to actually authorize our web HDFS APIs as well, or else we will not be able to do it. Okay, so we'll do that part later. But for the time being, what I can do, sudo su minus HDFS, and here I will say HDFS DFS minus ls slash user. Now we have a EC2 user. Here you can see that. Okay, and here it is owned by a EC2 user. Okay, now let me just say HDFS DFS minus ls, and it throws me a security exception. So whatever exception you are saying, security SAL section GSS initiate failed, no valid credentials provided, failed to find any Kerberos TGT and all, that means this does not have a ticket. So how do I know this does not have ticket? You need to say K list, and it has not given you any key. It does not have any ticket. To get the ticket, you need to say K init, and then you need to give the password for the EC2 user which you have given the training. Once you have provided the appropriate correct password, then you say K list and you have the ticket cache with you. Now I will do the same exercise. I'll run the same command HDFS DFS minus ls, and this time it should give me back. It should not fail. It should give me whatever it is present, right? So that means to say that now is our all the processes are Kerberized, and it will work only with the tokens and everything. So even once you run the MapReduce job, you need to actually get the token, and then only you will be able to submit the MapReduce job. Okay. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. And in next class, we will see the Knox and ranges, and also we'll see that how to submit in a later parts. We will see that how to submit the MapReduce jobs on a Kerbise cluster.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.